it.
Nice.
No, you know what? I'm so
stumbling right off the blocks.
It wasn't a stumble. It was intentional. It was an intentional fuck it. I'm so tired of introducing this like it's an actual show that people watch and that people attend. Usually it's, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Gaming Without Parole. It's this canned thing, and across from me, whatever. Who cares who I am? This is Mike Zeller.
Some guy, yeah.
Right? I feel, what's great about this show is that right now, not any of the previous ones, this show
this moment.
Is that I sort of just crawled out of bed. I'm like still wiping the sleep out of my eyes. It's my first cup of coffee of the day. And I feel like Thundercloud is sitting right here with us. Because I feel like he's kind of the only one that's going to watch. We're doing this for him.
Actually, I do know a few other people that watch regularly. They don't comment, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, last week had 19 views. To this point right here, 6 days after it first went up, 19 views. We were doing well for a while, 60, 70 views here and there, and the last week, 19. Is that our core audience?
Well,
this is why I don't even feel like introducing myself.
It's everybody that's not a fan of Brett or Jobby.
Oh God, Brett, please come back. Brett, quit your job. I'll start paying you to come here. Oof, that's going to get an expensive podcast.
That's going to get really, really expensive. That might not be worth the exchange.
I'm Brian Paul. Sitting across from me, the ever-illustrious Mike Zeller.
Yep, we're here.
We're going to do it.
Riding it out to the very end.
Whether people fucking watch or not. Yep.
We just got to get a Facebook presence. Get some posts.
I think maybe we should just sit here and just say, fuck, shit, shit, fuck, ass, balls.
Just act really hyperactive about video games. You know, that seems to be the ones that get all the hits, are people that just act like a spaz.
Right? Those aren't the people I want to watch.
No.
I want to make a show that I want to watch. So far it hasn't happened, but I'm going to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Right.
We'll get there.
Mike, what do we do here on this awesome Sunday morning?
Yeah, between our moments of crippling self-pity.
Yeah.
We talk about video games sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we talk about other stuff.
Cats.
Cats we talk about. We haven't talked about cats in a while, though.
Did you see the YouTube video of the cats being scared out of their minds of cucumbers?
Yes, I did see that.
What is going on with that?
It's got to be something with the smell and the shape. It smells weird, and the shape is maybe vaguely snake-like.
Maybe.
Cats really fucking hate snakes.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Because, I mean, I can't imagine the smell, because a lot of the videos I saw, it was there for a long time until they turned their head and looked. You know? It wasn't like this, oh my god, I sensed something in the room.
I mean, if you put anything big behind a cat, when it turns around, it'll probably freak out. Yeah. I guess that was the appropriate size. But yeah, they don't like the smells of fruits and vegetables a lot.
Right.
Bananas, you try to give a cat a banana, they will not go for that.
Really?
Yeah, they are not fans.
They're not healthy.
No. Yeah, they're pretty much straight carnivores with a little bit of grain mixed in. Although, you know, I sometimes use my cat as like a test for if something I have in my house is healthy or not. Like, I'm like, is this milk gone bad? Like, what's the cat think? Ooh, okay, he doesn't want to touch it.
Let's
toss it. I had a young lady over one time, and we ordered Chinese food, and she was really kind of appalled with the result of what came in our order.
Really?
And she's like, I don't think this is real food. And so she cut open one of the dumplings and like gave the meat to the cat. He wouldn't eat it. And she's like, see, like,
that's not surprising. That's not even meat, I don't think.
No, I suppose not. It's
scrapings from shoe bottoms.
A little dubious. Did I tell this story on the podcast about on my birthday when I ordered shitty Chinese food?
Yeah.
I did, okay.
Yeah, we definitely talked quite a bit about Chinese food on that episode.
All right, we don't have to talk about that. We can talk about video games.
We can.
It seems like you had a lot to talk about this week, since I walked in the apartment 15 minutes ago, and pretty much everything I started to talk about, you're like, we're going to talk about it in the podcast.
Yeah, so. Now I don't remember any of those things. Well, the thing is, you walked in and I was playing Uncharted on PlayStation 4.
Which was a real shock, because...
Well, so it was Uncharted 1, and Uncharted 1, I've been saying, I mean, almost notoriously for the last, like, few years, that out of all of the Uncharted games, Uncharted 1 is my favorite. Now that I'm replaying it, it's good. But I can't. I'm actually excited to play 2 and 3 just to kind of like play them sober, and because everyone almost across the board, people like Uncharted 2, the best of the 3. and that was always my least favorite.
That's interesting.
We'll see. I'm going to replay it. I'm replaying with an open mind. The weird thing about 1, and I think it holds up. It's a great game. In playing it 60 frames a second, 1080p, all that good stuff. It's cool, and it could pass as a not AAA PS4 game, but it could pass as something good. Nathan Drake seems small, like just physically on the screen. He often seems like those games kind of prided themselves on being like really good looking games.
Yeah.
This is a developer that went from making Crash Bandicoot to Jak and Daxter, and they really changed the look of their games. They made
that weird RPG where the woman takes her top off if you put the code in.
What?
Yeah, there's some really old Genesis game,
they did make
secret rings or magic rings or something like that. It's pretty shitty, but if you put a code in the beginning, a woman takes her top off.
I'm going to buy that.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
So this is where the small Nathan Drake thing comes in. Sometimes when you're running around the environments, the camera seems so pulled back in sort of almost this isometric view, where it feels like you're playing a Jak and Daxter game. Like, because it kind of has that look. He's small. He's a character. But I will say, I'm having a stroke.
Yeah.
Running at 60 frames a second, I'm not like huge on like the tech side of things, but I do like when games run in that frame rate. There's an obvious change in control. Like the first Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 all ran at 30 frames a second, and it almost seems like the animation of Nathan Drake took precedence over. No,
precedence is okay. It took precedence. That's okay.
Are you sure? It took priority over the control. Like of the two, the animation was more important. Is that precedent? No, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, that's
This
fine.
is grammar without parole.
Yeah.
Sustenance.
We've returned to that. Yeah, we've returned to that well a couple times.
Subsistence. Yeah, we have. So I really feel like I have more control over Nathan Drake in these games, and I don't know if it's just in my head or if it's actually a cause of the frame rate being different. Anyway, but the reason I'm playing Uncharted instead of Fallout, because I am 65 hours into Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I'm level 36, and I've just been having problems.
Really?
Technical problems. The that game breaking bug that people have been talking about,
which I have not heard about.
Okay, it's the one. It's the one that people are concerned about. It's when you have to go to, I think it's called Monsignor Plaza.
Okay, yeah, I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, it's marked on my map because I'm supposed to go there for different quests. I don't think my main quest involves me going there yet. Basically, if you draw a circle around Monsignor Plaza, a decent-sized circle on your map, if you try to enter that circle, the perimeter of that circle from any direction, game just fucking crashes. Like, kicks you right out to the PlayStation home screen. Just total crash.
Wow.
Yeah. And so sometimes you'll just be doing something, and you'll kind of forget where you are on the map, and you'll sort of enter that perimeter, and done. And I'm like, fuck, again? And then there's this other mission where, I won't spoil anything, you have to go to like 10 different police stations.
Okay, yeah.
Before I went into one, I had to fight like all of these super mutants, and it was a real pain in the ass. Like I almost died like 3 times. But I kicked ass, and I got through it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like as soon as I walk into the police station, I'm going to save. And I walked in, and the game just never stopped loading.
Oh, yeah, I had that happen to me one time.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to me a few times, and this was like, so not even related to the bug, but I was like, you know what? I just gotta put this down. I've been playing, it's the only game I played for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And I love it. And as I said early on, I'm like, if the game ended now, it would still be one of my favorite games of all time. But knowing there's at least another 100 hours to go.
Jesus Christ.
That makes it even better for me, which is, I never say things like that. I'm usually like, 10 hours, I'm good. Right?
Yeah.
So the fact is, if I'm going to spend another 100 hours in this game, I would like to do it without having that thought in the back of my mind that the game's going to crash or that something bad's going to happen unexpected. So I feel like I got a lot of time in. I fucking love it. I'm going to wait for a patch. I'm going to get some other games played in the meantime. It happened at the perfect time because not that I was getting burnt out on it, but I was coming close. And so I picked up Uncharted. Actually, it was on sale on Amazon. One of the Black Friday week-long Black Friday deals. $30. That's exactly what I wanted to pay for that game. So I got that, and I got Dark Souls 2 with the DLC PS4 for $20.
Oh yeah, I ordered that one too. They're back ordered though, so it'll be a little while.
It's gonna be a while. And you missed out on the deal I sent you.
I know.
That's why you gotta check your text messages more often.
I know. I was out
Until
with a friend.
Dawn was $20.
That would have been pretty cool.
And unfortunately, I didn't notice till like 20 minutes, and I was like 20 minutes left. And I was like, "Oh, Mike, you got to get this." No, too bad.
Yeah. Well, that's a game that I'm sure will get there eventually. Anyways,
give it a couple months.
Yeah.
It was already like, I think I saw it for like 40 or 35.
Yeah, it
at
dropped
some point.
pretty fast.
Yeah. It sold well though.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was according to Sony, they're calling it a sleeper hit. They didn't put any real marketing behind this, so it must have been a surprise to them.
That's cool.
I think it's one of those things where Twitch actually helped out on the advertising.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, what's this all about?
Yeah, see, more game companies need to let people, like, do fun stuff with their games. Yeah. You know, it's good press.
So I'm going to assume, since you have a new PlayStation 4, and you have Fallout 4, that's what you've been playing.
Pretty much.
You want to tell us some Fallout stories?
Yeah, sure. Although, actually, the first Fallout story I want to tell is not my own. So my good friend, my old college roommate, an occasional guest star on this podcast,
hey, John.
Yep. He has had a PlayStation 4 for a while because he's really into the Souls games, so he
had to
wanted
play
to play Bloodborne. Yeah. So he and I had been testing out the share your screen with other people so they can watch you play.
Yeah, you said last week that you've been doing that.
Yeah, so that's been pretty cool. And he was sort of vaguely interested in Fallout from what he was seeing, so I visited with him yesterday and I brought the game with me, and he tested it out a little bit. And, you know, the beginning of that game is, I don't want to say a slog, because that implies that it's boring, but you got to do some shit to get into the actual, gameplay. So he sat down and he said, I'm going to spend a while with the character creator, because I might want to go back to this guy.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I'm going to go use the bathroom then. So I went and did that. And I came back shortly thereafter, and oh man, he had the saddest, most depressing looking guy created. He was like balding and like he did this on purpose.
Yeah.
His goal was make a guy who looks like he used to be somebody. And just looking at this man's face just radiates aching sadness. Just aching sadness. Because you can see there's like good bone structure there, and he's got really piercing eyes, but he's just flabby all around, the blemishy kind of skin, shitty facial hair, balding in a greasy way. No, it's not.
Does he look just like me?
No.
I used to be somebody. I used to be pretty fucking hot.
Fair enough.
I made a pretty hot character. Somebody I wanted to actually like watch.
Yeah, I mean that's what you would think.
You would think.
And so he made the guy really chubby too.
Okay.
And he's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, give him some more muscle with like the flab on top, so it looks like he used to be in shape, and and he did. And he's like, "Oh yeah, there we go." So this man, he looks like shit, but like shit in a way that you can see what he used to be, which just makes it all the worse. Just all the worse. And when he was picking his stats, he just maxed out charisma and luck, and everything else was just like rock bottom.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And his plot with the game was just be really rude to everyone and just get by totally by personal magnetism and by dumb luck. But so this, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the start of that game is the nuclear attacks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think we have to put some limitations on spoilers.
Yeah.
Like if you tell something that happens in the first hour of the game, I don't think that's.
And so, going along with this man being a sort of just lucky idiot, he ran in the opposite direction when when everyone's fleeing towards the vault, and he ran around for a while, and he started going off down this river, like the river at the beginning of the game. All of a sudden, the fucking bomb goes off, and he gets killed. He got killed in the introduction, which is the most amazing thing I had ever seen. He got killed by the nuclear strike.
So what happens when you die? Is it just like a normal game over screen?
Yeah. I thought they were going to boot him back to like the character creation screen and be like, make somebody that's intelligent enough to avoid a nuclear attack. But yeah, he's just like running down the river, and all of a sudden the screen like flashes, and there's this like wave of an impact wave, and he just gets like blasted down the river. And the best part was his only reaction to being essentially caught in a nuclear strike was he just kind of goes like, ugh, just this little grunt of pain, and like blasted away.
That's great.
And he made a video of it, and I told him he has to send that to us, so we can put a little clip of that up on the show.
Definitely. Although if he hasn't sent it already, it's not getting in the show. I'm amazingly fast with this thing now. I actually screwed up when I started that game. One of the first traders you meet is what's her name, Trash Can Carla, or just Carla something.
She's random. I think they're all kind of random. I didn't run into anybody with a shop until I was probably like 15 to 20 hours into the game.
Oh. Like with like the Brahmins with the packs on their backs? Oh, I ran into this girl like in probably the first hour. And
nope, I didn't find anybody who was buying or selling things until I got to Diamond City way later. Yeah,
this girl just hangs around Sanctuary like all the time.
What I think happens, and I haven't really, because I don't want to spoil anything, I haven't dug into the mechanics yet, but I think as you develop your settlements, they start to attract the regular traders.
Well, they do, but like I mean, like from the get-go, this girl was there. Like I ran into her like in the first hour. Like even before Sanctuary, I ran into her. But I made a mistake because the first time you talk to her, it gives you 4 options, and one of them was yellow, and it said like, "Give me all your money." And I gave myself quite a bit of charisma, and
that's a smart way to play Fallout with a high charisma character. Usually,
I'm like you want that upper hand in conversations. So I was like, well, let me give it a shot, right? What could it hurt? Well, she doesn't trade with me. She was. Every time I run into her, she looks at me and she goes, well, the would-be robber. You're going to have to shoot me because I ain't giving you shit. That's what she says verbatim.
Nice.
Every time. And she, like, fucking lives in my town. Right? And so I see her all the time, and that's the only thing she says to me. Luckily, I'm really good at pickpocketing.
Oh, okay.
So I just steal shit from her all the time.
There you go.
So I made a mistake early on. If you haven't played Fallout yet, then be nice to the travelers, the traders, everybody at first until you really, really, really upgrade your charisma. About the character creation, or maybe not even creation, just I don't play in third person almost ever.
Yeah.
So even though I've got this like really attractive character, just never see him. So I don't spend probably as much time as I should like comparing weapons and being like, oh well, this one's better than this one, I'm going to hold on to this, and I keep one, and when I start having problems with that one, I'm like, oh, what else did I pick up? Is that already even better? I do it once every 3 hours or so, and I do the same thing with my armor. I'm like, okay, I'll put this armor on, this armor on, this armor, and I'm like comparing stats and being like, all right, the rest of it can just go into the workshop, pile. Well, I was running around for probably, 6 hours. And finally, I went back to Sanctuary, and somebody goes, do you know you don't have any pants on? So I tapped the touchscreen to go into third-person mode, and there I am, with all sorts of crazy armor on, but no clothes. Just wearing underwear with everything. Which, it doesn't really affect your stats very much, but it's fucking hilarious to watch. So because I'm not having a huge problem in that game, like stat wise, I just run around naked.
Well, you know what the best part of that is? Realistically, like picturing it, if you're like wandering the desert and then you see a man come running at you like in his underwear covered in garbage carrying a gun, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
That's at least as terrifying as seeing somebody with, like, the spiked leather, Mad Max Raider kind of outfit. Because, a man running around in his underwear is either crazy or extremely confident.
So true.
The equipment system... It's funny because from a sort of aesthetic perspective, Fallout 4 looks pretty similar to 3 in New Vegas. I mean, functionally everything's kind of the same. But under the hood, it's a really drastic system change. There have been a lot of changes, a lot of really core system changes, and I think one of them is the equipment system, which is kind of funky, because there's certain clothes that you can have equipped, and they're like regular armor, and you can equip other gear over them.
Right.
But then there's other things that are just like outfits, and that's it. You can't equip anything else. And what you're talking about, I've noticed a few times, if you equip a piece of armor and you're wearing an outfit that you can't put armor on top of, it just pulls that off, and that's the only thing you're wearing. And it's very weird, like what constitutes armor versus what constitutes clothing.
Have you done what is it called? The Silver Shroud?
I found them, but I haven't found they won't let me take it out of my inventory because it's a quest item, but I haven't found the quest yet.
It took me hours from that point. Yeah, and it's like a whole series of subquests. It's really fun.
Yeah, so I've been holding on to those, and I was like, well, they don't weigh that much.
I don't think you can get rid of them.
No.
You've been holding on to them because you have to.
Yeah. But it's weird because you can equip your companions with gear. You can equip even the other settlers with gear. And there have been a few times where I was like, oh, I want to give this person this, like, I don't know, bracelet or something that they can equip. But, like, whatever they're wearing constitutes clothes, and whatever I'm giving them constitutes armor. So I'm like, so I'm trying to give like Piper a bracelet, and suddenly she's just naked. And I was like, oh, Jesus, lady.
I think this works.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's been another week, and I still haven't played with Piper at all. I've been playing with the detective, mostly. You said you lost your dog.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck he went.
Did you send him off to a settlement? Or
I thought I sent him to Sanctuary, which I don't know. Maybe he's just like wedged in a wall there somewhere.
Have you checked the doghouse?
Yeah, I checked a doghouse. There's several of them, I think, and I usually try to poke my head in when I'm there, but I don't know if I might have missed one or something.
Right on. Yeah, because as soon as I got rid of dog meat the first time, I was like, man, where the fuck is this thing?
Yeah.
And he was
in the doghouse. All right, maybe I'll double check them, because Sanctuary is fucking huge. I was kind of thinking like, oh, I should have sent him to like what's the Rocket Station or one of the smaller settlements, because like he could just be wandering. I mean, it took me a while to find Strong, and he's huge.
I love Strong.
Yeah. He does not seem to enjoy traveling with me very much, because I'm constantly robbing. Although I'm robbing dead people, like.
He's strange like that. Although, what I do like about Fallout, and again, such a minor spoiler, is that he kind of evolves. Like, the more he likes you, and the longer like you spend time with him, because he's always saying, at the beginning, he's always saying that not to pick up other people's garbage, and like he's like why do you need that? That's stupid. He's like, I want to kill somebody. Come on, like stop wasting time. And then later on, like the more he likes you, he changes his mind. He goes, we might need that in the future, or something. Like, he kind of has like a change of perspective. The super mutants. I think I brought this up a little bit, but when you were talking about Strong, and you're like, he's got kind of a weird morality code. Like, he's all about killing people, but if you steal things, he's like, or like pick a lock. He hates that.
Yeah. The super mutants are weird because you look at them and they're these hulking. They look like ugly Hulks. And they're wearing metal trash. It seems like they're dressed like crazy barbarians. So you kind of think of them as they're barbarians, but they're not. Like historically in Fallout, the mutants are actually super elitist. Yeah. Like they're horribly evil most of the time, but they have this weird and they eat people and like they do all, but they've got this weird code because their whole thing is they think they're better than human beings.
Yeah, well, and Strong exemplifies that. Yeah, he always says, "I wish you were super mutant, not human." Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, because they've got a bizarre. They're not just these like ugly barbarians. They have this weird kind of code and society, and it's almost like a nasty Klingon kind of thing. Like they're brutal, but they also have this sense of pride, and so that's why he's annoyed when you're picking locks and you're stealing garbage, because killing someone is like you're stronger than them, you're superior, but like doing that stuff is like you're some kind of dirty thief or something.
I was going to save this till after the news, but let's just bust this out right now.
All right.
So I was at work, and of course everyone's like, "How's Fallout?" And I swear people at work have bought Fallout because of me. right?
I walk into work and everyone's like, "Oh my god, the computers are broken," and I'm just like, "Ah!" I try to run out and they just grab me and drag me back in.
Yeah, I'm not that essential where I work. So someone was like, "How's Fallout?" And I tell them all about the bug and stuff, and like that. I'm like, maybe I'll put it down for a little bit. And so one guy, and he plays video games.
Yeah.
He's not playing Fallout, but he's played video games quite a bit in his life. And he goes, "Oh, that's crazy." He goes, "You should take it back. You need your money back. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't put up with that." And I was like, no, like, and in my head, I was like, that's the fucking dumbest thing anyone's ever said to me. Because especially, I'm like, he played Skyrim, right?
Well, okay, yeah,
right?
comparatively,
yeah. So I was like, it's in my head, I was like, it's ludicrous that anyone would ever say that. The other part of it is that I spent 50 something hours in the game without really encountering any major bugs, like maybe crashed once or whatever, but nothing like permanent, nothing that was going to keep me from continuing my playthrough. And I was like, most games I don't even spend that much time with. If I get a solid 10 to 15 hours out of a game, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got my money's worth and I had a good time, and usually I'm ready for it to be over by that point. With Fallout, I'm like, I don't want it to end, So why I'm kind of like, does Fallout get a pass on this? Because it's got a game-breaking bug that actually hit PC, Xbox One, and PS4. It is across all consoles. Why did they get a pass?
Yeah, it's an interesting point because you're right. When he said that to you, that's kind of a pretty reasonable reaction. I mean, if I buy...
Not from another gamer, though. Like, from my parents, I'd say sure. Or from my mom, I'd say
yeah,
sure.
I mean, well, I'm thinking, even with myself, contextualizing another situation, like, I just bought some exercise equipment. Yeah. If I was using that and, like, every once in a while it just, like, flipped the fuck out, I would immediately, like, it happens once, I would probably be calling the store and saying, hey, what the hell? Or if I buy, like a like a toaster and every once in a while it just obliterates my bagel or my Pop-Tarts, my s'mores Pop-Tarts.
Causes small kitchen fires.
Yeah, like, that would be, I would be immediately, dealing with that. But yeah, with something like a video game or like Fallout, it's like, I don't know.
It is this huge open world.
It does kind of.
Such an undertaking.
I mean, I don't want to... I feel like it's a grayer area because game-breaking bugs, I mean, it's right there in the name. It kind of ruins the game.
But also, when you call... Okay, using your exercise equipment or toaster comparison, with a toaster, you need to bring it back to get it fixed.
Yeah.
Bethesda knows there's a problem. This is a major problem. It's not just happening to one or two people. It's the biggest percentage problem that's out there. So they're working on a patch. They are. So instead of bringing my game back, trying to get my money back, and then not having the game that I love, I know that Bethesda's fixing my toaster, right?
Yeah.
And eventually my toaster will be fixed, and I don't have to go through the hassle of returning it to get a new one.
Yeah.
Getting a new one's not going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, I think you are taking the logical, correct solution in this. I was thinking more from a perspective of, should we call bullshit on this? Should we be mad at Bethesda?
Also, I'm asking that as well.
Yeah.
Should we be mad at Bethesda?
I don't know. On some level, like, you released a game that kind of has a major issue with it. But I think I said either last week or the week before, this isn't like a God of War, this isn't like a Halo, where it's a fairly scripted, structured experience, where you can, you take 20 passes through the game and you can kind of test for just about every eventuality. Right. Where this is this gigantic game, there's so many possibilities. I mean, you can build your own towns, like many of them. It's not even like you just have one area that you can kind of dick around with. Like, you can reshape huge chunks of the game world in this game that has a pretty good graphical fidelity, that has a lot going on under the hood. Like, it's a big deal. And so them having glitches, like, it's going to happen. There's just no way that you can test for that.
And with a game like this, it's sort of one of those things where, like, like during the testing process, I can only assume that they ran into a ton of bugs. They patched a ton of things before release. And sometimes when you fix one problem, you create 3 new problems.
Oh, yes.
Right?
As the man who's dragged back into the building to fix the computers knows, it's not just like a press the button and you resolve the issue.
Right. So...
that was a load-bearing bug.
So I sort of give him a pass because I spent, a ton of time in this game without a problem.
Yeah.
And in knowing, again, that there's going to be another 100 hours of enjoyment, I could go right back in right now and play for another 20 hours, and as long as I avoid that spot on the map, I could explore all sorts of places I haven't been yet, and I could easily get another like 20, 30 hours in without another crash.
Yeah.
But I'm just not willing to do that right now. And again, like I said, if I put it down right now, I'd still consider it one of the best games ever made. So it's hard to give him a hard time about this. It's like you created this masterpiece with a fault that you're fixing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I definitely think I don't blame anyone for being annoyed or for being critical, and I wouldn't, but I guess I could understand somebody saying, I just don't feel like dealing with bugs. I don't want to play this game. It sounds messy. Like, I guess I can see that, but you're right. From my perspective, I haven't encountered anything game-breaking yet, and I've sunk a ton of time into it. I've done all this crazy stuff. My favorite bug is the spazzing out corpses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty, that's a Bethesda classic.
It is. And somebody called it Bethesda Charm, and I don't agree with that. I'm like, yeah, it's like, I giggle when I see it, and I'm like, that's so Bethesda. And I was like, why does that get a pass too? It's not something you should expect. The crazy thing is that, playing through Uncharted 1 right now, I blasted through probably 80% of the first game in about 6 hours, right? And I was like, holy crap. Like, I think I bought that game when it was pretty new.
Yeah.
I may have spent full price on it. And I was like, man, for $60, I bought a very linear third-person action game that I blasted through in about 8 hours. And here I am spending the exact same $60 on Fallout 4, a game that I plan on spending almost 200 hours with. It's really crazy when you think about the financial aspect of games in that way. You almost wonder if games shouldn't have a set price anymore. Yeah, no,
it's weird, and it's really hard to pin down. How do you even quantify certain things?
Yeah.
Because you think, back in the PlayStation era, everything was $40, brand new. Every game was $40.
Yeah.
If it was a budget price game, it was $20. And then you think, things have gone up since then. It's now most games are $60. Handheld games are $40, and you think, oh, what the hell? But that was quite a while ago now.
Yeah,
and then
counting for inflation, games are cheaper than they've ever been.
Yeah, and if you go back to the cartridge days, I mean, Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG, those were like $80 games when they came out. And you also think about other like recreational activities. Going to see a movie is $10 to $15, but you're getting like maybe 2 hours of entertainment out of that.
And don't forget, like, it's hard to go to the movie theater without at least even buying a drink or some kind of food item.
Yeah.
And it's for 2 people, you end up spending like $40 when you're at the theater.
Yeah, or going out to eat, like that's an hour you're probably spending $20.
At my restaurant, 2 people go out to eat for it's generally about $120 for 2 people.
I go to much shittier restaurants than yours.
Just saying, there's a broad spectrum.
The last time I was at your restaurant, I was with a number of people that made a lot more money than I do.
I've eaten in my restaurant once. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah,
the service was kind of shitty.
Yeah, because it wasn't you.
It wasn't me. I feel like I'm the only person keeping that boat up, that boat afloat.
Yeah.
Or if anybody's watching, you suck.
Yeah.
No apologies. Actually, I told somebody that the other day. I was like, my podcast is just so I can get on the air and vent about all my coworkers. I was like, I talk about you all at length by name. and how much I hate you all.
Give your address, your
and,
list of fears.
And somebody and a couple people actually believed me, and I was like, "This is the way to get new viewers."
That's what we should do. We should just go down the street and say like really nasty things about people, and then be like, "I'm going to go on the internet and tell everyone that you're a pedophile," and give them the address or the web address.
Yeah, they'll watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, or you think about going to an amusement park or something.
Yeah.
Like,
my god.
Yeah, I went to an amusement park.
So fucking expensive.
Yeah, with an old girlfriend a number of years ago, and it was like $150 for a day, and they're not open 24 hours.
Yeah, and when you go to an amusement park, you're moronic if you don't get the fast pass to be like the first one in line.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just spend the whole day waiting in lines. And yeah, it's fucking twice as expensive, but you're going to have like 10 times as much fun.
Yeah.
You're going to go on 10 times as many rides.
This has been Coaster Cast.
Seriously. Let's get to the news because we're already low on time.
Yeah, we're like running out of time already.
So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 got a new patch.
Oh boy.
It's 7.8 gigabytes. Okay.
And wasn't the original game like 4 gigs?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I know that this is bigger than the actual game.
Yeah.
I also know that this is the second patch it's gotten that's bigger than the actual game. So basically what they've said is, you bought a bad game, we've replaced it twice, it's still not any good.
I can't wait till they release like Game of the Year edition or something, and it's just like a functional game.
And it's like 3 gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got new levels, new characters, or new character campaigns, and gameplay tweaks.
Such as not being busted as shit.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are in it.
Really? I was going to say a Spider-Man in it, but that's pretty cool.
Spider-Man would be great. You talk about an unacceptable game at launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, two huge patches, and it still doesn't look like it's any good. $25 for that game on the Black Friday sale, Amazon. I sent Brett a text because I think he wants to play this game even if it's bad.
That would be a good Let's Play for us to do. If he buys it, let him let us borrow it.
I told him I was like $25 for the next 20 minutes. It was the same exact deal as I sent you, and he goes, if it was 10, I'd consider it. I'm like, yeah, same. Okay, this is great. I can't wait to hear sales reports for after Christmas. Alex Osborne from IGN. The headline writes, Wii U helps drive Target's biggest online shopping day ever.
Really?
The article goes to say, Target.com enjoyed record-breaking sales on Thanksgiving, with Wii U leading the charge as the retailer's top-selling item online for Black Friday. Quote, gaming consoles were popular in stores and online, including Nintendo Wii U, which was the top-selling item on Target.com. Additionally, Apple's iPad was popular, blah, 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 and televisions were also very popular as well. Why? Why is the Wii U the most popular Black Friday item at Target?
They have a bundle now that is Smash Brothers and Splatoon.
Yeah.
That is a really good bundle.
It was like $250 or something. It's not expensive.
Yeah, that's a really, really good bundle. I mean, the Wii U has been really the only system that's been consistently selling with 2 games, which is awesome. That's like the TurboGrafx 16. I can't remember the last time a console was selling with 2 games, but usually it would be like something good and then something kind of meh. Yeah. You know,
these are 2 great games.
Yeah, like I bought it with was it Super Mario 3D World, which I mean it's okay, but that was one of their big ticket games, and then Nintendo Land, which
you know, I've actually wanted to play Nintendo Land because I heard that was sort of the Wii Sports equivalent of the Wii U.
Yep.
In other words, showcasing why this controller is actually necessary for the gamepad.
Yeah. I played it a few times with the little kid that I mentor. It's pretty fun.
You can do it one player though with
bots,
right?
Yeah.
Cool. I might actually.
But it seems more like the type of thing that would be more. There's a reason that I haven't played it much by myself when he's not around. It's kind of one of those games.
Yeah,
but
I don't have a kid that I mentor, so I don't have people to play games with.
There you go. Where's Joby?
Where is Joby? That's an excellent question. Joby's moving today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I used to pick him up before the podcast and drive him home. He's moving out of town, so we'll see how often he makes it here on his own from here on out. I fucking hope we see him more often.
Yeah.
Because we don't see anybody anymore.
No, we're just lonely shut-ins now.
I almost canceled today.
No.
So this almost didn't happen.
I was gonna send you a text message saying that like my parents showed up or something unexpectedly and I couldn't come, but I was like, no, I don't know if he'd be actually mad about that. Just indifferent.
No one else is showing up.
Yeah. I wasn't really gonna bail, but it was
right.
Yeah.
Right. Just because. Coca-Cola has re-registered the Ecto Cooler trademark.
I saw that.
Do you think this is in response to Nuka-Cola? Nuka-Cola Quantum?
I think this is in response to we don't have enough diabetes in our society.
Jesus, right? I served a family of 4 last night, and the parents let their kid, when I say kid, like 6-year-old, drink Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi. Like, maybe one regular soda, like one glass. But, this kid had, 3 glasses of, Diet Pepsi. I'm like, you already have cancer.
When I was growing up, my parents used to buy a fair amount of soda. I drank soda fairly regularly.
Yeah.
Then when I was in high school, I had this teacher who was super anti-soda, and he's like, try just drinking water for a couple weeks and see what happens. And I was like, all right, I'll try that. So I started drinking water. For our viewers, any of you, I'm assuming if you're watching internet videos, you probably consume a fair amount of soda. If you try to just...
Wow.
Sorry.
That was oddly stereotypical. Listen, we only have 19 viewers.
I know, and
try not to alienate.
And now they're just the numbers just dwindling down. We have 7
so
now.
Fired.
Oh,
if I
damn
paid
it.
you, you'd get a severe salary cut.
But man, when you stop drinking soda and then try to go back to it, it's fucking nasty.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 that I still kind of like, but they're pretty grody compared to water, or even kind of shitty fruit juice is not as nasty.
There's so much sugar in soda, but worse than that, I think the diet sodas are so much worse for you.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be bad for your teeth, the aspartame clings onto your teeth, and it's obviously cancer causing.
Yeah, pretty much anything diet, the way they get it to not have calories or salt or something, is just by bombarding it with chemicals that are terrible for you.
It's gross. And I went through a huge Diet Coke phase in my life. I'm I feel like I'm going to be paying for that eventually. Or maybe I am right now. I'm seeing the doctor tomorrow. We're hoping for the best, but expecting the worst.
That should be our tagline.
I bet $100 to Barry that I have cancer. I was like, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you I have cancer. $100 is on the line.
You have a death pool and you bet on yourself.
Yeah. I always assume it's the worst, really. But yeah, Ecto Cooler. That was a High C thing, wasn't it? Was that a High C tie-in? It was the little boxes.
So. Yeah, it was definitely the juice boxes.
It was Ghostbusters tie-in.
Yeah.
So with the new Ghostbusters movie coming out, this makes sense.
Does that
right?
mean we're going to have a female Slimer?
Female
Slimer may have been the grossest thing I've ever said on this podcast.
Was Slimer male? We don't really have a gender on this.
I feel like in the cartoons they referred to him as he.
Oh, well, maybe just for a lack of a better pronoun. It,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Slimer was cool in the cartoon.
And in the second movie, I feel like they referred to him a few times as he.
Yeah, so there's no other news about this. It's just they filed for the trademark to reissue it and or to re-obtain it, but no actual announcement. They're probably just securing it just in case.
Yeah.
With the ridiculous success of Nuka-Cola Quantum, I feel like this makes sense. I'm still waiting to find one for less than $60. It's crazy. I got my mom on the hunt. Mom, if you happen to see this in Target, fucking buy all of them that you can. Beat up some Target employees. Retro City Rampage.
Ooh.
Sequel.
Ooh.
Coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita.
Nice.
It's going to be a 16-bit Retro City Rampage sequel instead of the 8-bit. You liked the first game,
I did. I liked it quite a bit. It had a really obnoxious ending sequence, but other than that, it was pretty fun.
Couldn't get into that game. I tried on multiple systems because it was free on one system, and I think I got it for the Vita on the other.
Yeah, I played it on my PlayStation 3, and then I bought the physical copy for the Vita.
Oh wait, you have the Vita. I have the PS4 version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like a game that would be fun to have as a handheld. Although after I bought the physical copy, I had realized I'd forgotten you get crossplay with that game from the PS3 and the Vita. So I already had it handheld.
Yeah, I think it was a PlayStation Plus game at one point, I think. So I do have it on my Vita, but just not the physical copy. Maybe I'm missing something, but it didn't work for me. It was like Grand Theft Auto without the fun.
Well, I think the objective is not playing it like Grand Theft Auto. I think it's more the trip down memory lane. I think it's more about it's an open world game in the same way that Grand Theft Auto is, but I think it's more fun to just play the missions.
Okay.
It's the only Grand Theft Auto game where it's more fun to play the missions than to actually just screw around killing things and crashing cars. Did they say if they're going to do a physical copy, or are they
we actually should pay attention to that, be on top of it, because the last one was limited edition.
Oh, yeah,
right?
It was like out and gone, and then it got quite a bit more expensive. And they sold the physical copies pretty cheap, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they were like $20.
Yeah. Now it's really expensive. So let's see here. PlayStation 4, PS Vita, PC, and 3DS. Interesting. It's called Shakedown Hawaii.
I'm already liking where this is going.
Yeah, it's set 30 years after the events of Retro City Rampage. Shakedown Hawaii takes the player, in capital letters, out of retirement and thrusts him into a 16-bit world featuring destructible environments and an arsenal of supercharged weapons, according to a post on PlayStation blog.
Wow, 30 years. That's a pretty big jump.
Wow. Yeah, it's like way past the 16-bit era.
Yeah. That's like further than we are now.
I don't have any information on,
right.
So we're just going to have to do that one on our own. There's a book coming out called Pixelance. The people who make the PC Engine Bible website, which I've always referred to when buying Japanese games I was unfamiliar with. They have a decent scale of buy it, don't buy it, garbage. Couple screenshots, usually a review or something. But Pixelance is their first physical book they're coming out with, and it is. There we go. Pixelance TurboGrafx 16 Turbo Chip is the first volume of the Pixelance collection, printed in full color with 104 pages, spiral bound with frosted plastic covers for protection. The volume covers 46 games from the TurboGrafx 16 Turbo Chip library, covering the years 1989 to 1993. Included games are... I'm not going to read them because there are a lot of them.
Okay.
Yes. 46 games. I'm not going to read them all. It looks pretty cool, and it's coming out later this month.
Well, there's not too much time to go, so...
Yep.
Or are you assuming we're going to have this up in December?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So I'm thinking about buying one because I feel like it's going to be the first of many by them.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I've been buying Hardcore Gaming 101's books, and they've been pretty awesome. They did a Castlevania one, they did a PC adventure games one, and now they're actually coming out with... They've done a couple others that I didn't buy that they did about like Sega arcade games, but they're coming out with a best... I don't know if it's best 200 games of all time, which I think their list would probably be pretty solid.
I just want to make sure I don't get this wrong before I bring it up. You know Jeremy Parrish?
I do, yeah. I've met him a few times. I've worked for him occasionally.
He wrote a book recently called Game Boy World, 1989, A History of Nintendo Game Boy, Volume 1.
And he didn't ask me to contribute. I've contributed to most of his other books, so...
So, this looks good. I'm concerned how many volumes there will be, because if it's 1989, there was a solid decade or more of Game Boy games.
Yeah.
And if this is 89 Volume 1, I'm like, is there going to be volume... Is 90 Volume 2, or is there another volume of 89? But that looks good. I love collecting for the original Game Boy. I think it's a fun little system.
And it's still one of the few that's not astronomically expensive.
Right. Every so often you'll find something like Trip World that is a bitch to buy.
Yeah.
Might buy it. Think about buying a reproduction of that one.
What's it called again? I don't know.
Trip World.
Oh, yeah.
By
That
Sunsoft.
one I know. Yeah. That one.
Retro Game Lab has an awesome reproduction of that with book and a cartridge in the box.
Cool.
It's like a full thing for like $50 or something.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, better than like the $300 you buy on the cartridge alone.
Yeah.
Well, Mike,
I'm still trying to find a copy of Daikatana for the Game Boy Color. I've heard that's pretty awesome, actually.
Nice. I know I have the N64 one, which requires 2 different buttons to crouch.
Nice. Yeah. No, the Game Boy Color one is actually held in some degree of esteem.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it expensive?
I don't think so.
No.
And it's sort of a Zelda knockoff.
Nice. Yeah, you saw the Bonk one I just picked up.
I did see that, yeah.
Not the Bonk game I thought it was.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is there more than one Bonk Game Boy game? I thought there was just the one.
So there are 2 that came out in the U.S.
Okay.
There's Bonk's Adventure 1 and 2.
Okay.
And they're pretty solid ports, I guess you'd call them, from the original TurboGrafx games. And they're good by their own right. But then there is this one that I have that I can't even figure out what kind of game it is. What I thought was that there was a third Bonk's Land Adventure or something, like it doesn't translate quite right, that just never got to the US, and I thought that's what I was buying. It was like $5. It was not expensive. And then when I put it in, it's almost like I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do. It's like just a single screen, Bonk the character, a big guy walking around the screen, and then you can go to like any of these what seem like stores all around the outside edge, but of course it's all in Japanese, so I'm actually gonna have to look up.
That's weird. Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's very strange. I love Bonk.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was a cool character.
There's a Smash Brothers cameo I'd love to see.
That would be awesome. That'd be great. I'd love a Bonk amiibo.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, before we wrap it up, is there anything else you want to discuss today?
No.
That's some good talk.
No, what time? Oh yeah. It's one. We can boat this bass.
All right.
Probably playing some more Fallout.
Yeah, I think so. Uncharted, I think, aged pretty well, right? It's not the technical showcase it once was, but I mean, why would it be
okay when
like
I was
10
watching,
years later, right? Because I think, Uncharted's got to be almost 10 years old if it's not already. But I'm curious to see the difference because everyone talks about the graphical leap in quality from 1 to 2, the gameplay quality. So I can't wait to actually do that. Considering these games are about 8 to 10 hours each, especially when you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
they're way more fun when you know what you're doing. Because I remember getting stuck a lot in the first one, being like, "Where the fuck am I supposed to jump?" Like you'd be on a ledge, and but once you like kind of understand the Naughty Dog development on these games, you're like, "Oh, I got it."
Yeah,
you just know where they want you to go.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Phoenix Wright games. Yeah. Like sometimes their legal steps are ridiculous, but once you get the rhythm of like how they're ridiculous, it gets a lot easier.
Yep, when you understand the developers. So I am blasting through these in much less than 10 hours, I'm sure. And I'm about to get to the good part of Uncharted, which I always considered the end. And I don't know, I might be alone on this, but I always really liked how Uncharted followed the Indiana Jones formula of being realistic, like for most of it, right? And at the end, you get that supernatural twist. And I love that about Uncharted, especially the first one. That's why I always considered it one of my favorite games. Favorite Uncharted games.
Yeah.
So then, I think I'm just going to blast through all 3 games. And maybe this will get me excited about Uncharted 4, which we know very little about. We'll see.
Did you also find the twist at the end of Uncharted 2, though, was kind of stupid?
I mean, I remember big blue plants or blobs on plants or something. It was awful.
So this is what happens at the end of that game. Spoilers.
No one's watching.
So there had been kind of, I don't even fucking remember the plot, but there had been some implications that there might have been like Yetis going around killing people.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, Uncharted is a fairly realistic game, so you're like, Yetis. Mm-hmm. And then you get to the last couple levels, and suddenly there's these fucking Yetis jumping around killing guys, and you have to fight one at one point, and it takes a lot to put that guy down. Okay. And you're like, oh shit, I guess there's Yetis. But then Nathan Drake goes over to him and like takes his head off, and you're like, oh, they're gonna Scooby-Doo this shit. But there's this like giant blue guy under there, and it's like, oh, there's not Yetis. There's this race of crazy blue people that are
dressing up as Yetis.
why not just have Yetis? Like, what?
Or just, why not just have giant blue people?
Yeah, I mean, they're equally, like, that would be like, I mean, to the Scooby-Doo metaphor, it would be like, if you pull off, you know, the Wolfman's mask, and you're like, wait, this isn't the Wolfman, it's Dracula!
Right.
You know, like, what? Just have the Wolfman, then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I just...
Yep.
Stupid.
Uncharted 2 was a game that... So my brother and I used to have this tradition, which I'm so glad we got rid of. We never knew what to buy each other for Christmas. We always wanted to get each other something. So basically, he'd tell me the name of a video game he wanted, and I'd tell him the name of a game I wanted. And at Christmas, we'd both give each other a wrapped video game that we both knew what it was. It was just, and it was like so routine. It was like, here's yours, Merry Christmas,
Nice.
I love you too. And it was like, boy, that didn't feel good.
One year for Christmas, my brother and I both exchanged gifts.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, it's clearly a wrapped, you know, DVD case. And we're like, oh, I bet we know what this is. And we unwrap it, and we both gave each other DuckTales. Like,
awesome.
I know, it was hilarious. Like, without telling...
This was DuckTales Remastered, right?
The
This
DuckTales
was
Remastered,
only a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think we knew each other.
Yeah.
during this period. Which is crazy to think that we have history now.
We do, yeah.
Right? We've been doing this for like 2 years.
Too long.
Just over 2 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
It's weird. You're not easily disposable anymore.
Nope.
I've tried. You won't go away.
Yeah.
You're the only one that keeps showing up. I got to keep you around.
Yeah.
Please
That's
come back,
me,
guys.
reliable.
Please come back.
Yeah.
Brett, Jobby, whatever. All right. Well, we'll keep doing this even if no one else shows up.
Yep.
All right.
I think you had said during one of the first 2 or 3 of these that this is basically like your therapy session to just get all this stuff out there, and yeah.
I do it constantly.
Yeah.
I talked about video games whether people want to hear it or not.
You're at your restaurant just talking to the customers like, can you believe this shit with this Fallout glitch? This is like 90-year-old woman. She's like, I know, fuck Bethesda.
It is crazy how many people I hear talking about this game, and I just have to jump right into every conversation. Yep.
You're like sitting down at their table, like scooching them over in the booth.
I did it. I actually got one couple to watch our podcast.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, you like Fallout? You gotta watch our podcast.
Nice.
Yep. And that's how we get viewers.
Yep. We just bother people at work.
All right. Let's get out of here. For Tim, huh?
Whoa.
2 strokes in one podcast.
Yeah.
For Gaming Without Parole, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Mike Zeller.
And hey, Thundercloud, we'll see you next week.
Yep.